The morning light filtered through the tall windows of the courtroom, casting a bright and hopeful glow over the polished mahogany benches. It was a day for clarity, a day for truths to be unraveled, and for justice to find its way home. In the center of this world stood Judge Judy, a woman whose wisdom was as sharp as her wit, and whose commitment to the truth was unwavering. Before her were two individuals, Amina Thornton and Donnie Alford, entangled in a complex web of shared dreams, business ventures, and the loyal companions that often bridge the gaps in human relationships. Amina Thornton stood with the poise of a woman who had seen much of the world. She was a disabled veteran, a title she wore with quiet pride, reflecting a life dedicated to service. Alongside her husband, she managed a successful trucking company, proving her strength in a demanding industry. But Amina was also a woman of heart, a breeder of dogs who found joy in the soft paws and wagging tails of her French bulldogs. Her connection to Donnie Alford had begun in the most unexpected of places, a rented space where the vibrant energy of music and dance brought people together. Donnie was a man of many talents, an artist who moved with the grace of a performer and dreamed of a life filled with music. He had been an exotic dancer when they first met in November of the year 2021. Amina had been a spectator that night, drawn into a world of rhythm and performance. Donnie had shared his aspirations with her, speaking of massages and the music he longed to create. Amina, ever the entrepreneur and supporter talent, saw a spark in him. She decided to help him build a platform for his art. By February of the year 2022, this support took the form of a 2-bedroom apartment in the prestigious neighborhood of Buckhead, Georgia. Amina had rented the space in her own name, a sanctuary designed to serve a dual purpose. One bedroom was transformed into a professional music studio, a place where the air hummed with the potential of new tracks and creative breakthroughs. The other room provided a home for Donnie, who at the time was struggling to find a stable place to live. Amina, navigating a period of separation from her husband, lived in the apartment as well, occupying the other bedroom. It was a time of transition for everyone involved, a season of seeking new beginnings. The arrangement was built on a foundation of mutual goals. Amina provided the financial stability, paying the rent and furnishing the space, while Donnie was to provide the artistry. However, the path of collaboration is rarely a straight line. By June of the year 2022, Amina felt the pull of her family and decided to return home to her husband. She sought to transfer the lease to Donnie, wanting him to have the independence he needed to thrive. But Donnie's credit was not sufficient to hold the apartment alone, and the transition became a source of tension. Amidst the discussions of rent and leases, a new venture had blossomed, the breeding of French bulldogs. They were small creatures with big personalities, symbols of the joy and responsibility that Amina cherished. The first of these was a dog named Crown. He was a magnificent animal, purchased for the sum of $4,500. Amina had paid a deposit of $500 in April of 2022 to secure him from the litter, and the remaining $4,000 was paid in full when they picked him up in June. Then came Royalty, a female dog whose name reflected her elegant nature. She was purchased for $3,500 in mid-June. This was a particularly poignant time for Amina, as she was dealing with the emotional weight of a miscarriage. It was a moment of vulnerability, yet she remained committed to the well-being of the animals. Donnie claimed he had a hand in these purchases, but when the light of justice was shown upon the records, the truth began to emerge. The third member of the canine family was Prince, brought home in August of 2022 for $3,000. By this time, Amina was back with her family, but the dogs remained a point of connection and, unfortunately, conflict. Donnie insisted he had contributed $2,500 toward Prince, but he lacked the bank statements or receipts to prove it. He spoke of lost phones and closed accounts. But Judge Judy, with her years of experience, knew that the truth always leaves a trail. She understood that a person who relies on others to pay their rent rarely has thousands of dollars in cash to spend on a luxury pet without a single record of the withdrawal. As the court session proceeded, the focus shifted from financial records to the heart of the matter, ownership and care. Amina had physical custody of the 3 dogs, along with 5 new puppies that had been born in April of 2023. These 5 little lives were being cared for by Amina and her husband, a testament to their dedication to the animals. The dispute over registration papers was not just about ink on paper. It was about the recognition of who had truly invested their heart and resources into these creatures. The narrative also touched upon a difficult evening in December of 2022. Amina recounted a disagreement that had taken place in the apartment, a moment where the pressure of unpaid rent and unmet expectations had come to a head. She described an assault, a claim that Donnie denied. Judge Judy listened carefully, filtering through the emotions to find the facts. She sought to ensure that justice was served not just in the ledger of finances, but in the safety and dignity of the individuals involved. In a moment of profound clarity, Judge Judy issued her order. She determined that the truth lay with the one who had provided the means and the care. She directed the American Kennel Club to recognize Amina Thornton as the sole owner of the dogs. New registration papers would be issued in her name, bringing a sense of peace and closure to the long journey. The story ended not with a sense of loss, but with a celebration of resilience. Amina walked out of the courtroom with her head held high, a veteran who had once again stood her ground and won. She returned to her trucking business, her family, and her 8 beloved French bulldogs, knowing that she had protected the things she valued most. Donnie, too, was given a chance to reflect on his path, to understand the importance of honesty and the true cost of a dream. It was a day where the complexities of life were simplified by the power of the law. It was a reminder that while relationships may change and dreams may shift, the values of integrity, responsibility, and compassion remain the true North Star. The music studio in Buckhead might have fallen silent, but the melody of justice continued to ring loud and clear, inspiring all who heard it to believe in the power of the truth. As the sun set over the city, the echoes of the courtroom faded, replaced by the quiet sounds of home filled with love and the gentle breathing of puppies. Amina had found her way back to what mattered most, turning a chapter of conflict into a story of strength and renewed purpose. The lessons learned would serve as a foundation for a brighter, more stable future, proving that even in the face of challenges, a positive spirit and a commitment to doing what is right will always lead the way home.